Some of the weakest leaders I've worked with all have one thing in common. They were absolutely convinced they were right. And some of the strongest ones, well, they were willing to say something that as leaders, we sometimes find incredibly difficult to say. I've changed my mind. I'm Dan from Your Sales Edge. I've spent over 15 years in sales and sales leadership. And on this channel, I share practical ideas, mistakes I've made, and leadership blind spots that can make a real difference to the way you lead and sell. And changing your mind is something I think we need to talk about a lot more because experience is incredibly valuable, right? But it can also create a lot of uncertainty, or sorry, certainty. I've seen this before. I know how this works. These are some of the sayings and phrases. And trust me, we tried that 5 years ago. And before you know it, you just stop listening. You've got what we call tunnel vision, and that can become a huge blind spot. In fact, everyone has it. I worked with an exceptional sales leader that for a long time before COVID had very strong views about working from home. Simply, he just wasn't a fan. He believed people should come and be in the office. It was his position and it was based on years of experience. And then guess what? COVID happened. Suddenly, none of us had a choice. Everyone had to go home, and he had two options. He could spend the foreseeable future desperately trying to prove that his original opinion was right, or he could look at what was actually happening in front of him. And to his credit, he did the second. He realized that people could work effectively from home, teams could still perform, customers could still be supported. People could have a lot more flexibility in their lives without performance falling apart. And his perspective completely changed. And I think there's a really important leadership lesson in that. Changing your mind doesn't mean your original decision was stupid. It just means you've received new knowledge. And your job as a leader isn't to defend what you believed yesterday. Your job is to make the best decision with the information you have today. Think about how often this comes up in sales leadership. You're convinced somebody on your team needs more activity. Maybe they don't. You think a deal is dead, whereas someone else sees an opportunity that you've missed. You think someone isn't ready for a promotion. Another leader gives you a completely different perspective. How about you've decided why the team missed target before you've even properly listened to them? And this is where blind spots become really dangerous because one of the biggest blind spots any of us can have is believing that we don't have one. And the moment you become completely certain that you're right, you stop looking for information that might prove that you're wrong. Instead, you should start looking for information that confirms what you already believe. So here are 3 questions I think every sales leader should ask themselves. What would have to be true for me to be wrong? Whose perspective haven't I properly considered? And also, what new information would cause me to change my mind? Those questions don't make you weaker as a leader. I actually think they make you significantly stronger because strong leadership isn't having the confidence to never change your mind. It's having enough confidence to change it whenever the evidence tells you. So the next time someone starts to challenge you and your thinking, resist the urge to immediately defend your position. Instead, get curious, listen a little bit more, ask another question, dig deeper. Look, you might still decide that you're right. That's fine. But you might also uncover something that you simply couldn't see before. And that could completely change the decision and the outcome. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're notified when we publish our next video. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what's something that once felt absolutely certain that you've changed your mind completely on? Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep building your sales edge.